All right, so now let's go ahead and do a deep dive into Phase 2. So during Phase 2, students who have completed their first semester of CE classes, or they've completed 12 or more concurrent enrollment credits, would then sit down with a counselor. Either they can do that individually, or if you want, you can meet with a group of students and do this. And during that session, they're going to learn about how to build their academic plan in MyCE. Once the student has then built that plan, the counselor would receive a notice to check the plan to make sure that it doesn't conflict with their high school schedule. And the SLCC advisor would receive a notice to check and make sure that they haven't selected classes that they don't really need for whatever pathway they've selected, whether that is to pursue their general education certificate of completion or if they're just exploring in an area of study. Now I want to pause before we move on and point out a couple of things. First of all, you'll notice that it says that they can either sit down individually or in a group setting. Really, it's completely up to you as a counselor to decide what method of meeting with a student and helping them to build this academic plan works best for you and for the students. Maybe you just send them an email with the instructions on what they need to do and you call that good. It's completely up to you, and we've designed this to be flexible to meet your needs and to meet the students' needs. The other thing that I want to point out is that it is very important that before a student enter Phase 2, that they have completed at least one class. The reason for that is because we don't want a student to have to go through all the work of building an academic plan only to find out later when they jump into their first semester that concurrent enrollment was way harder than they anticipated, and maybe they need another semester or two before they dive into this. So we want the student to have had an experience taking a concurrent enrollment class, being successful, understanding what they need to do to be successful in college, and then at that point, hopefully they're ready to take on more classes by building an academic plan and figuring out which classes they need to meet those goals. Okay, so now let's talk a little bit about the counselor's roles and the SLCC concurrent enrollment advisor's roles in Phase 2. So the first role is that you as a counselor would determine when a student is ready for a Phase 2 meeting. So this can happen in a couple of ways. One, SLCC will send you, the counselor, a list of students who have accumulated 12 or more credits to use as a guide, or you as a counselor can run that data yourselves through your MyCE account. And in a second, I will show you how you can do that. And again, it is completely up to you to decide when you feel like a student is ready to move on to Phase 2 and build an academic plan. If a student has completed one class and you feel like they need to take a couple of additional classes before they're ready to move on to Phase 2, then that is completely fine and it's completely up to you to decide. The next role that you have as a counselor is to review the student advising checklist on the advising resources page of the concurrent enrollment website with the student and ensure that the student has all the resources they need to build that plan. So let's jump over to the concurrent enrollment website really quick and I'll show you where you can access that checklist and we'll go through the items on the list. So I'm going to go to the concurrent enrollment website. Down towards the bottom you see the counselors tab. We'll click on that and then we'll scroll down, and then the left-hand navigation you can see advising resources. Right at the very top of each of the phases, you'll see the CE advising checklist for high school counselors. So here it is in Phase 2 as well. This is the same list. You'll download it, open that up in Word, and we'll scroll down to Phase 2. We've already gone through Phase 1. So here in Phase 2, the main things that you're going to go over is, first of all, you want to verify that the student has completed at least one semester of concurrent enrollment classes and that they've performed well. And if not, then they probably need to demonstrate that prior to spending time building a plan, like we've already talked about. Next, you're going to discuss just briefly what academic planning is and why it's important. Why is it important to build a plan when you work towards achieving anything? Next, you'll discuss how academic planning will work in MyCE. On this item, you can just give them a quick overview. You don't need to go into detail because the tutorials and the resources that are listed here on this item will do all that. So give them an overview and then make sure they have access to each of these resources. Now, you don't need to create a handout or anything to give to them because all this information is included on the concurrent enrollment website. So I'm going to jump back over here to the concurrent website. Now I'm back on the counselor website. You can actually access it from here, but I'm also going to show you how the student would access it. So as a counselor, down here in the left-hand navigation at the bottom is the student advising page. And here on this page, you'll see Step 2, and then in Step 3 is where they meet with your counselor and build an academic plan. if you click on this blue button, or if the student clicks on the blue button, then here are the videos with the resources that they need to build an academic plan. So this first video is going to go through what is academic planning and some things that you need to know, some basic things about building your academic plan in MyCE, and how do you prepare for building a plan. So for example, before you build an academic plan, you should probably have an idea, you don't have to know for certain, but a general idea of what career you want to end up in. And once you know the career, then you should think about, well, what majors might get me to that career? And then once you know that, then you can determine which courses do you need to take in order to get that major and get that career. So this video walks through that and guides them through how to use some of these worksheets below to do that pre-work before they begin building their academic plan. The second video here will walk them through step-by-step how to build their academic plan in MyCE. So that's where the student can find those resources. Now let me show you where students access that on the Concurrent Enrollment website so they don't have to go through the counselor page. So back here on the Concurrent Enrollment homepage, you'll scroll down and you'll see Advising. When a student clicks on that, it will take them to the exact same page we were just at, where they can go to step 3 and go through the resources there to work on building their academic plan. Okay, let's hop back over into Word now. So again, you'll discuss how academic planning will work in MyCE, you'll show them where to go on the college's website, and then they will access all of these resources to build their plan. The other thing you may do before you send the student loose to build their plan is discuss some success strategies. And we've listed here 3 strategies to consider. So the first one is to make sure that they don't take more than one class in each of those general education categories listed on the Gen Ed Certificate of Completion. You may also ask the student what are some strategies that they've already learned in the concurrent enrollment classes they've been in to be successful as they take college classes. They may talk about things like meeting deadlines, planning extra time to study outside of class, talking to your teacher if you start to struggle, and then some other items. If they miss any of the items listed here, it might be a good idea to talk to them about those. And the final thing that may be good to reiterate to them is that if any point throughout the semester they begin to struggle in their concurrent enrollment classes, that they should talk to you or talk to the concurrent enrollment instructor sooner than later. The sooner they discuss their struggles with the instructor or with the counselor, the sooner you can help them to identify which strategies they need to navigate some of those struggles that they're facing. Once you've finished going through those things, you'll determine a date and a time for the student to complete the task and then later to follow up with you. And then finally, you'll send a follow-up email and or text message to the parent using the templates that we've provided at this link. And I'll show you also how you can access those on the Concurrent Enrollment website. So if you come back over here to the Concurrent website, click on Counselors, scroll down and you go into Advising Resources. There under Phase 2, you'll see the Parent Email Template. Click on that, and then here you'll see the content for an email or text message that we've designed to go out to parents after this meeting with students. The reason why we've done this is because when we surveyed students, we found that some of the biggest motivators for getting things done is parental support. So the template here lets parents or guardians know how they can best support their child in working towards and achieving their academic goals. You'll also notice that this template is both in English as well as in Spanish down here. So you can include both English and Spanish, or just Spanish. It's up to you. And feel free to modify the text that we've included here in whatever way suits your needs. So the next responsibility for counselors is to follow up with the student on building that plan. And you can do that however you would like, or you can have the student follow up with you. Next, as a counselor, you'll review the plan that's been created by the student and answer any questions that the students may have. Again, like I mentioned earlier, once a student completes that plan in MyCE, an email will automatically be generated and sent to both you and the SLCC Concurrent Enrollment Advisor. And in just a second, we'll jump over into MyCE and I'll show you how you go through the process of reviewing a student's academic plan. The final role for a counselor in Phase 2 is, as I already mentioned, using the parent template on the Advising Resources page to inform the parent or guardian how they can help support their student in achieving their goals. So now, before we jump over into MyCE and show you how you as a counselor review an academic plan, let's walk through the SLCC Concurrent Enrollment Advisor's role in helping to support you and your students in building this plan. So the first thing that the advisor will do is send an email reminder a couple times throughout the semester just to remind you to run the report in MyCE that can help you identify which of your students have accumulated 12 or more credits. They may also just send you the report. The second thing that they'll be doing is reviewing the student academic plans that have been submitted, and then they'll communicate with you or the student if there are any problems or concerns. Next, the Concurrent Enrollment Advisor is there at any time to help answer any questions that you may have or provide any other support that you need. And then finally, the Concurrent Advisor will make sure that all of the resources on our website are always up to date and notify you if we've made any changes or updates to any of those resources. Now, let me show you where you can find the contact information for the SLCC Concurrent Enrollment Advisor that's been assigned to your high school. So let's go ahead and jump back over to the counselor website, and here you'll see in the left-hand navigation at the very bottom, SLCC Advisor Contact. So you'll click on that, and here you'll see a list of all of the concurrent enrollment advisors with their contact information and a list of the schools that they have been assigned to. So you'll scroll through this list, find your school, and there you'll find the advisor, the phone number, and the email address for that advisor. So now we're going to jump into MyCE, and I'm going to show you how you can run a list of students that have accumulated 12 or more credits. You can find out what their college GPA is so you can identify any students who are struggling. And I'm also going to show you how you as a counselor review academic plans that have been submitted for you by the students in MyCE. To access MyCE as a high school counselor, you're going to go to the Concurrent Enrollment website at slcc.edu/concurrent enrollment. And then you're going to click on the Access MyCE button on the right of your screen, or if you've got a smaller screen, it'll show up at the top here. Click on that. Click on Login to MyCE now, and you'll be taken to the MyCE portal. From there, you'll go ahead and click on High School Partner. And if this is the first time that you've attempted to access MyCE, you'll want to check to see if we already have an account set up for you in our system. Every year, we go through in our office and try to add all of the counselors that are listed on the high school's website so that we have all the counselors listed in MyCE. So to find out if your information is already in MyCE, click the Reset Password link, and then you'll type in your high school email address. Once you've done that, you'll click Reset My Password, and this will send you a password reset link to your email if your account already exists in our system. If you wait for a few minutes and you don't receive an email to reset your password, then you'll go back to this page here, and you'll click the Submit Access Request button. At that point, you'll fill out the form here, check I'm not a robot, and submit the request. Once our office receives that request, we'll get your account set up, send you a password reset link so you can set up your password, and you'll be good to log in to MyCE. Once you're ready to log into MyCE, you'll come back to this page, enter your email address and your password, and click Login, and that should take you right into the MyCE system. So first of all, let's take a look at how you can identify which students have accumulated 12 or more credits or are struggling with regards to their GPA. So to do that, you're going to go into MyCE and go into the Reports section, which you can get to here or over here. You'll then click on Students, and then you'll click on Student Total Credits Earned. Once you've done that, you'll select the high school, which will be your high school, and then you'll select the term you would like to run the report for. Now what this does when you select the term, so for example, if I select Fall 2022, it'll look at any student at your high school that's registered into class during Fall of 2022, and then it will pull a report that shows how many credits each of those students have accumulated. If you want to check other semesters, maybe the entire academic year, then you would select both Fall and Spring 2023, and that would grab the entire academic year and any student who took a concurrent enrollment class at your high school. So you'll select the semester or semesters, and then you'll click Generate Report. Hit OK. Over here in the recent runs then, you'll see the report is pending, so we'll click Run Report. Hit OK. Now I see the Download Report link, so we'll click on that. It downloads the report. We'll open that up. And here you'll see a list of all of the students at your high school. You'll see their SLCC GPA, and you'll see the total number of credits they've accumulated at this point through concurrent enrollment. You can then add a filter in Excel by going to the filter button and then filter that data by greater than 11. Now it's going to show me all the students who have accumulated 12 or more credits. At that point, I can identify which of these students I feel is eligible and ready to begin building their SLCC academic plan through my CE. Now that you know how to identify which students are eligible for advising or need advising, now we're going to go ahead and walk through how you review an academic plan that's been submitted for you in my CE. If you receive an automated email indicating that your student has completed an academic plan, you'll log into your MyCE account and then you'll go into the academic plans section right here, or you can get to it over here on the left-hand navigation. So you'll click on that and you'll see a list of the academic plans that have been submitted, as well as their status, whether they've been submitted, in progress, or if they've been approved. If a plan is in progress, that means the student is still working on it. If it's submitted, that means the student has gone through and submitted it. And if it's been approved, that means that the SLCC advisor has reviewed it and approved it on their end. So to review a plan, you'll find the name of the student who you received the automated email for, and then you'll click on View Details on that plan. That will then open the academic plan. And then you as a counselor will simply review through what they've outlined that they are going to be taking over the next several semesters and make sure that it doesn't conflict with their high school schedule. Now let me point out a couple of the features that exist here on the student's academic plan. If you see a little icon that looks like a note here, that means that the advisor has attached a note that's specific to that course. Often they'll put a note there indicating that one course needs to be taken prior to another course. Maybe they'll say something like, oh, this course has prerequisites, make sure you meet them. Or maybe they'll say something like, this course is redundant with this other course, you only need to take one of these two courses. So you'll just click on that comment, it'll open it up, you can read through that, and then you'll close it right there. Another thing that you'll notice is that over here on the right, you'll have a bunch of information about the name of the advisor that's assigned to the high school and that will be checking the student's academic plan on the college side. You got their email address right there for the advisor if you need to get in touch with them and have a private conversation, and some other information regarding the student. So for example, the student's college GPA, which will be a good thing to keep an eye on as you consider the number of classes that they're taking. If they have a very low GPA, it may be a good idea for them to take it slow and not overburden themselves. As we scroll down a little bit further, you'll notice that we have any test scores that SLCC has received for that student. So ACT scores that they've sent in. If they've taken the SLCC Canvas or Qualtrics tests, then those scores will also appear over here, which you or the Concurrent Enrollment Coordinator can use as a guide to see if they meet any prerequisites for certain concurrent enrollment course, if you are going to dive that deep into it. Next, as we scroll down, you'll see the requirements for the General Education Certificate of Completion right here. This will list the total credits that are required in each of the categories and how many of those credits the student has added to their plan. So for example, in the quantitative literacy requirement category, 3 credits are required, but the student has added 10 credits to their plan. So there's 7 credits that they can drop from this plan to free up their schedule and to lighten their load. As we scroll down a little bit further, you may notice warning icons that appear on the plan. That's an automated warning that identifies a problem with the student's plan. So if I click on that, it tells me that this student has selected a very large number of credits that exceeds the limit that SLCC recommends, and if they hit 30 credits, then they will have exceeded the limit set by the state. So this is something that the system has caught automatically, and it's something that you as a counselor may want to be aware of as you consider their high school load on top of this college load. So if they've selected 19 credits and they also have several high school classes that they need to complete that semester, there may be some problems here. Scrolling down to the bottom, you'll see more information about the student. So all of the student details that we have on file and that may or may not be useful to you. So you'll go ahead and review through that plan. If you notice any problems, or you just want to post a note to the student to say this looks great, then you'll go into the notes section and you'll click Add New Note. You can then type a note right here, and then when you save the note, an email will be sent to anyone who's checked in this list. If you don't want anyone to be notified, you'll uncheck that, click Save, and then it'll only be posted to the plan, so the student will only see that when they log into MyCE. So we'll click Save, and there the note appears. You'll also see any general overall notes that the SLCC advisor has posted to the academic plan right here in the notes section. You also have the ability to see what classes the student has completed already by clicking Classes here, and this will show you any classes that the student has completed or that they're currently registered for, along with the grade that they have received on their permanent college transcript. So this is another tool to help you decide what the student is ready for and if they've made a good choice on their plan. Once you've reviewed that and added any notes, you can scroll up to the top here, close this out, and you've completed the review of the student's academic plan. All right, so now that you know and understand all of the tools and resources that are available to you to help guide a student through phase 2 of the academic planning process, we're now going to jump into phase 3 and go into that in detail.